Good afternoon, my dear students. Welcome again to my subject, Statistical Analysis with Software Application. And I hope that you've learned something about our topic lesson, which is all about basic concepts on statistics. And our new topic for this day is all about organizing and graphing data. And these are the different learning objectives of this presentation. Number one, define raw data. Number two, organize and graph qualitative data. Number three, graph qualitative data. Number four, organize and graph qualitative data. And lastly, graph quantitative data. Okay, so this is the definition of raw data. Data recorded in the sequence and which they are collected and before they are processed or ranked are called raw data. So these are examples of raw data from 20 up to 21. These are the scores of 20 students. Frequency table. The first method to organize qualitative data is called the frequency table. To understand such method, we will review the following example. So assume that a sample of 50 students from the preparatory year at KSU was selected, and those students were asked how they feel about the degree of their satisfaction of the program. The responses of those students, as I say, are recorded below, where V means very high satisfaction, S means somewhat satisfaction, and N means no satisfaction at all. So those are the raw data po. So these data are example of qualitative data. As you can see, they are not numbers. They are alphabetic. Once again, they are alphabetical letters. Okay. So summary of raw data. So this is in tabular form on how the qualitative data had been presented. So from the first column, the different types of satisfaction, which can be written as V, S, and N. And for the second column, the number of students, or the number of students who voted for V, S, and N. So as you can see, the sum should be equal to the numbers of students who answered the survey. A frequency table for qualitative data lists all categories, names, or labels, and the number of elements that belong to each of the categories, names, or labels. Construct a frequency distribution. First, identify the variable and their categories. What we did, or based on that example, we identify the different variables. For the feelings of the different students from the school, it can be S. It can also be like that, N, if I'm not mistaken. Record the categories, names, or labels in the first column or rows of a table. Mark a tally denoted by the symbol slash in the second column next to the corresponding category name as label. And lastly, record the total of the tallies for each category. In the third column, which is called the column for the frequencies and usually denoted by letter F. Okay, so let's move on. Relative frequency and percentage distribution. So that is how do we present relative frequency po? The number of frequency divided by the total number of frequencies of all. Okay. Then for the percentage, you need to multiply it by 100%. Okay, graphical presentation of qualitative data. There are many types of graphs that are used to display qualitative data. In this part, we will study the graph of such graph which are commonly used to display the qualitative data. These graphs are the bar graph and the pie graph. So from our Microsoft Excel, first we need to highlight all the data that we gathered. Okay, so that there will be a basis for the graphing. Okay. So this is an example of frequency distribution table. Data, so ganyan po siya, data presented in the form of frequency distribution table are called group data. For example, let us consider the following data. There are 26 numbers. So what are the numbers that we need to choose from? 6, 7, 8, 9. So there are 9, 6, 3, 7, 8 is 7, 9 is 7. For a total of 26. Class boundaries are similar to class limit, where each class boundary is divided into two lower boundary and upper boundary. However, the upper boundary limit for any class boundary is the same of the lower boundary limit of the previous class. As a sample problem, the following data table represents the source of 50 students. First, construct frequency distribution by using 12 classes. Second, construct the relative frequency distribution table. Then find the percentages. So these are the different methods to answer that requirements. Those requirements, I should say. The largest score is 19, the lowest is 37. So we need first find the range. So 9 is the highest, minus 37 equals 52. Second, divide the range by the number of classes, which is 12. 4.4 is the, what's that again? Divide the range by the numbers, the width. 4? Yes, so the width. Yeah, so 5 is the width. To identify the first class in the distribution table that contains the lowest value. We can use the lowest value to data as a lower bound for the first class. Each class has a lower limit and upper limit. So, for example, 35 is the lowest, then 39 is the highest limit for. And so on and so forth until we reach the largest score. Step number 5, determine the class boundaries. For the class boundaries, we need to subtract 0.5 and add 0.5 from the highest limit. Step number 6, use the symbol instead of each value of the row data opposite the class, which the value belongs to in the next column. The number of values in each class is called the frequency of the class that denoted by F recorded in the next column. So we construct the following frequency distribution table. Step 7, the ascending cumulative frequency for the first class is 2, and for the second class is 5. Continue until the last class. We have the ascending cumulative frequency for it is 50. So you need to add the frequency until we reach the total, which is 50. Okay, so class limit, check. How to prepare, check. Alam na po natin. Class boundaries, check. How to prepare. Midpoint, check. How to prepare. So 34.5 plus 39.5 divided by 2, 37 po yan. Carry, check. Frequency, check. Relative frequency 2 divided by 50. And so on and so forth. As you can see, the total is 1. For the percentage po, 0.04 times 100% equals 4% until you reach 100%. Then for the ascending po, ito siya 2 plus 5 plus 3, 5 plus 3, 8 plus 2, 10 plus 10 plus 6, 10 plus 6 equals 16, 16 plus 5 equals 21, and so on and so forth. Then for the application or activity, okay, so these are the raw data. The requirements are class boundaries, midpoints, frequencies, relative frequencies, percentages, and ascending cumulative frequencies. Make this data and frequency distribution table with class boundaries equal to 5 and containing columns of the following. So that is the instruction in doing this application or I hope you understand the presentation. Maraming salamat po. Thank you for listening.